Hi guys, hope you're all doing good. In this video, we'll be going through these footages and try to color grade them. These are footages from the YouTube channel Make Art Now, and there is a video where he hired 4 different colorists to color grade these footages, and he also provided us with the footages to try our hand on it. So what we are going to do today is use a different tool and understand the math behind how this tool works, and then use that tool to basically white balance this footage and then color grade. So the tool that I was talking about is the RGB mixer. The way the RGB mixer introduces colors to certain channels is quite different from how the primary wheels or the temperature or tint nodes work. And the RGB mixer, if we understand the math behind how certain colors are made, then it is one of the best tools to use to basically white balance any footage and even create our own looks. We'll basically start with this footage. So what I'm going to do is introduce the color space transform and then use the Kodak LED 2.4, and this one expects the Cineon dog, so we are getting the Cineon dog. The LUT that I'm going to use is the warmer version of the Kodak LUT. So yeah, this is the final part of our grade, and my work flow is a bit upstream, so what I'm going to do is introduce a few notes. And yeah, I'll just introduce one more node. So this is where I'll use the subtractive saturation. This should be for certain adjustments, primaries, and this is where we use the RGB mixer. We can have an adjustment node right before the primary to basically use these temperature or tint controls to work on our footage. Yeah. So let's switch to the RGB mixer. So how these tools work is in the red output we can see 3 different channels on R, G and B basically. So what this red output initially means is introduce more red or reduce more red on the red channels only. And what this one says is introduce more reds in the green channel and introduce or subtract red from the green channel. And what this says is introduce red to the blue channel or subtract reds from the blue channel. So yeah, skin is basically a yellowish orange color that sits right between the screen tone indicator that we see in the vectroscope. So now we have a footage where it is completely magenta and red plus blue is basically magenta. So what we are going to do is subtract blue from blue. So we get red, and you can see that the image is now slightly reddish orangish in color. Yep. Now we can see that the blue denim that he wears is also red. So what we're going to say is from the blue output or the blue channel, remove the red. Yeah, this is looking good. And I feel like the image is a bit greenish. So I'll do completely remove the green from the green channel. Then what I'll do is drop the blues from the red. Think this looks good. This is a better start than what we had first initially. So yeah, I'll just make some primary corrections. Feel like his eyes are a bit underexposed. And I'll use the subtractive saturation node to increase the depth of this image. This actually changed the colors basically, so what we'll do is drop the blues from the reds and the reds from the reds a little bit more. Yep, this looks better. So in the adjustment node, what we can do is basically the denim color that he wears is a bit more bluish than the greenish tone that we have. So we'll just change it to introduce more blue. Yep, that's it. That should look fine. And if you feel like this image is a little bit more greenish than expected, then we just use these controls to basically push in some magenta tint. And I think this makes a bit of a difference. Yep. And in the adjustment node that we have over here, I'll just slightly shift the hue towards this yellowish region that we have. Yep. I feel like this looks better. I'll just basically boost the saturation of both the hues that we have on this window. Just a slight touch. Yeah, I think this looks good. What I'll do is put a node right after the LUT node, and as we can see that the shadows are slightly lifted, just drop that as well. And in the primaries before the CST node, we'll just do this. And also drop the luminance through the subtractive saturation node. This looks good to my eyes. I just boost the saturation a bit. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just apply it to all these nodes. You can see that this is not working as expected. There's a lot more greener, so we'll just take this out. This compare and try to match it with what we have over here. Drop this one as well. The overall image has a little bit more blue. Just drop that. And this is already looking better. Just a little bit more increase in the luminance maybe. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good for me. What we have to do is just increase the luminance of the blue dress that we have over here. Then yeah, I do think we'd have to make one slight change, which is this. Yep. We'll do this basically. Let's just see if it is cohesively matching with what we have before the shot. Yeah, it is okay, but I feel like the contrast is way different. I'm just reducing the temperature in this adjustment node that we have to see if it's making any difference. And I think yeah, I think it looks good. Yeah, I think it looks good. And yeah, this shot is completely different. And you can see that the colors are very bad on these shots, honestly. So we might need to use a different method or just start fresh to tackle these shots. So the greens are a little bit more. We just drop the greens from the entire image. Now the magenta is more. We'll just play with these controls until we reach the right point. Basically, I feel like this is better, maybe, maybe not. Yeah, just go for a try from here. Just increase blues, and what I'll do in this adjustment node is basically use this highlight and increase the blue in that, and then improve the range so that it affects all the highlights. Now you can see that the whole image is looking a lot better, right? Yeah, we just do it a little bit more. We'll drop the greens a little bit. Yeah, just a slight. As you can see that the skin tones are a little bit more on the magenta side, but we have the adjustment node for that. And what we can basically do is select the red hue and just shift it to a more yellowish warm tint, then boost the saturation so that it matches with the next shot. I still feel like the contrast is a bit different. What I'll do is, oh, right, might need to change the color space to HSL so that the attractive saturation works, and I think this is doing a better job. Yeah. What I'll do is just in the adjustment node, the hue feels like it's a bit more on the greener side for the skin tones. Just make it a little bit more reddish and warmer. Yeah, this should look good. Yeah, so the basic idea of this video is to basically see if, yeah, this is looking good for me. Alright, I feel like this shot is a little bit more underexposed. We just boost it. I still feel like there is a slight warm touch to this. What I'll do is just drop it. Yeah, it's looking good, to be honest. I mean, you could still make a lot more changes as to maybe bring in a window and just play with the highlights a little bit. Or what I'll do is, yeah, maybe a little bit more of a reddish touch to this image. Looks fine, looks fine. So the idea is how we use the RGB mixers efficiently and maybe create new looks with it or white balance our image, and only if we understand the math behind how certain colors are formed, it is such a brilliant tool to use. So yeah, there's that. Thank you guys, thanks for watching the video, hope you enjoyed it.